Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, test, test, test. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, test, test, test. Okay, evening everybody. I hope you're all well. Streaming from my garage tonight, the shed. Today is about rebuilding a meditation practice, and I'll come on to that in a moment. Just got a couple of quick announcements to make. Hi Dan. I am running. I've been asked by a few people actually if I can run a 6-week mindfulness course online, and a while back I must admit it would have been a little bit of a bridge too far, because I finished off the last mindfulness course on Zoom, and that was a kind of, you know, forced introduction to Zoom. In the interim, I've become a bit of a veteran at live streaming, so subsequently I'm really comfortable with, you know, getting really comfortable with doing things like online presentations, HISU, and all of the things that are necessary to run an online course. So what I'm going to do is do that and run a 6-week course. What I've decided to do is, because it's a pilot, end-to-end pilot, I will only charge £100 for it. And as well as that, you get 3 free months. I had to practice that. Being a Cockney, it comes out as free months, of course. And you can kind of, is that 3 twice or is it free twice? Hi Caroline. And so 3 free months on the 2020 meditation online course. So if you're interested, drop me a line, and I'm building up a list, and we'll see how it works. Right. So the other things that I'd like you to do is to subscribe. If you keep coming back to use this channel, better off subscribing, because that way it appears more prominently and so on. As well as that, somewhere down there, for many of you, there's a little bell. If you find a class that you're interested in, what I'm going to do in the future is to have them online about a week in advance rather than a few hours, which is what I've been doing. So subscribe, and feel free to like and comment, and you can also comment, I believe, after the video has finished. It takes a little while for YouTube to process it after it's finished, but after that feel free to add any comments that you like in there and questions. Oh, sorry, yeah, I got the month wrong. It's the 7th of July. Yeah. So the class starts on the 7th of July. It's been one of those lockdowns. Right, so now as to the rebuilding your meditation practice, I teach a thing called, so now let's just sort that out. There we go, that's better. Just bear with me a second. Yeah, so I teach a foundation for meditation in the 2020 online course, and that's it's a set of areas of focus and things to do and things to keep in mind and remember when you are it's more of a framework than anything else. It's a framework for meditation, and that framework has a set of foundations. So the entire framework I teach in the course, but the foundations I've put on this slide. So the foundations for meditation, right at the heart of it really is your intentions. What is it you want to achieve by meditating? And then it's important to keep that in mind. It might even be useful to write it down, you know. This is what I have an intention to do. Don't set yourself goals in those intentions. Just look back. So to measure your progress in meditation and mindfulness and actually in life, it's not helpful to say, have I achieved this goal, haven't I achieved that? Because so long as you're making progress, you're getting to where you want to be. So your intentions might be something like, be calmer, be more relaxed, not worry so much, not get angry, feel happier, you know, all of these kind of things. And they're perfectly fine, so you just write them down, that's my intentions. And then over time, look back and say to yourself, am I now closer to being happy or less worried, more calm, more relaxed? That's the way to deal with intentions, rather than saying, in 6 months I won't worry. That's not helpful. So the intentions is a key part of it. It's very important to keep the purpose of meditation in mind. So this is something that I learned from the great meditation teacher Mingyur Rinpoche, and he says quite correctly, and this is part of the Tibetan Buddhist tradition, as a matter of fact it's part of the Tibetan culture, because they have a word for meditation which is gom, and gom means to be familiar with. So it's a process of becoming familiar with your mind. So the purpose of meditation is to become familiar with your mind, and all of the other benefits arise from that. Yeah, so I'll do a session on that in future. I'll add that to my list. There we go. Oh, let's do that. Session on the purpose of meditation at some point. So you've got your intentions, you know why you're doing it, and that's important because you need underlying motivation, so you keep coming back to those motivations. And the purpose is to become, the purpose of meditation is to become familiar with the mind, and that will reduce your worry and make you calmer and less stressed and happier and all of these kind of stuff. There's so much evidence of that. You know, scientists scurrying around. There's many thousands of studies that prove that there are all sorts of benefits to meditation. And then the other part of the foundations is the 4 rules of meditation. So I've made these publicly available in the past, and I'm not sure if I've got them in a specific class. Rule number 1 is baby steps. It's important to be prepared to keep coming back to the beginning. So this is all about rebuilding your foundations, the foundations of your practice. So what happens? What are baby steps? Baby stands up, toddles along, falls on its bum, gets up, toddles along, falls on its bum, repeat. That's exactly what happens with meditation. You build up a practice, it fails, you get up, you carry on, try something else, try something more interesting. Another meditation teacher, dare I say, you know, new cushion, meditate at a different time of the day, whatever it happens to be. So that's baby steps. Rule number 2 is you're in control. What that means is you choose when to meditate, how long for, which meditations to do. So it's very easy to get in a trap of cracking away with something that's actually not working for you. You find out what works for you. So you're in control, and if you're having a meditation training session that's really unhelpful, then stop it and find something that's different, a different practice, different teacher, different way of doing it, and rejuvenate it like that. Fix your roof in the sunshine. Meditate when you feel the most powerful. You know, we have these times of the day where the world is in the driving seat, and there's other times of the day where we feel like we're in the driving seat. They're the ones that we want to meditate. So it could be in the morning, could be in the evening, it might not be every day. It's a myth that you must meditate every day concept. It's a myth. I made personally the greatest progress, quite happy to discuss it if anybody's interested. In meditation, I was meditating once or twice a fortnight. It was a big deal. I would jump on a train, go out of London, go into the countryside, sit down and meditate, but that wasn't a daily practice. Life was incredibly stressful, and that made all of the difference. And the final rule of meditation is do less than you can. If you can meditate for 25 minutes, meditate for 23. If you can, or 20. If you can meditate for 10 minutes, meditate for 8. Heroic meditation is another myth. We're in an unfortunate world now where everybody who teaches anything like this seems to be gaining credibility somehow through heroics. You know, you can't be a meditation teacher unless you've meditated in the Himalayas in sub-zero temperatures, in a cave, rat infested, and listening to the ants screaming for 6 months. Well, all of these heroics are meaningless, because if you're teaching something to ordinary people, are you saying that they have to indulge in heroics in order to be able to meditate? Do they have to go to a snake-infested monastery in the Himalayas? It's nonsense. So you can do less. There's no need to push yourself with your meditations. You allow it to find its way into your life, and there are so many dials to adjust. When you meditate, how long you meditate for, which meditations you do, which meditations, the order they're in, whether you listen to guided or whether you meditate without it. All of these things, they're all things, then who you listen to when you're listening to a guided meditation, and which ones you listen to. You know, my podcast series has got something like 90 meditations on it now. So 90 episodes on it now, hundreds of meditations. So pick and choose. And then, of course, you know, there's always YouTube. Although a lot of them aren't really all that useful, other than as adult bedtime stories to try to get you sleep. But, you know, in itself, that's a valuable thing. Okay, I'm also thinking of doing a little bit of a podcast series on gurus. You know, meditation and mindfulness gurus. So I'll watch this space. Right, so now for today's meditations. And what I'll do here is, let's say, this is an, if I stopped, my meditation practice had failed and I wanted to rebuild it, what are the practices that I would do? And this is those practices. Yeah. Unsurprisingly, the focus is on frictionlessness. I don't even know if that's a word. It is now. Frictionlessness. We want the practices to be frictionless. And the attribute of a frictionless practice is frictionlessness. That's what we're looking for. And you can find it in the sound of the bell moving through time. Helps to close your eyes. And if you're just noticing that tiny little present moment moving through time, the sound of the bell, this is the way in. And your meditation place and space is important as well. The most frictionless place you can be in. And then allow yourself to gently become aware of your body and begin in the most frictionless way, which is an awareness of the movement of the belly, rising and falling. Just a tiny little movement. Belly rising, belly falling. And there's whatever sound there is. And what we need to do is to not allow ourselves to be drawn into the sound, but to notice it passing through our awareness. Noticing it rising, noticing it falling. The movement of the belly, the movement through time, and the sound moving through time. And your thoughts, and your sensations. And all of your senses. And then what I would do is to become aware of my thought. And the relationship to thought is that we're witnessing this process, this changing experience. So it's as if we're sitting outside on a sunny day, we're watching the movement of the clouds passing across the sky, or sitting in the beach, watching the waves roll up the beach and wash away. And so from the present moment, from the sound of the bell, here it is again, allow yourself to be aware of thought. And you're noticing the thoughts progressing. They're doing their thing. And just let that happen. In the same way that you're allowing the sounds drifting into your awareness and out of your awareness. And you're noticing the movement of the belly, rising and falling. So the relationship to each of these elements of our experience is the same. It's like watching the waves. Okay, the waves are not going to stop. Your breath is not going to stop. You'll never notice it. You'll never notice yourself not breathing. You'll never notice there not being thought or the potential for thought. So even if your mind becomes calm and clear and still like a mountain pool, at some point another thought will arise. And then what I'd do is I'd check in with my body. The order that you do all of this in is up to you. And look for the tension in the body. Readjust your posture, elbows by the side, head balanced comfortably. And notice the messages that the body's bringing you. And that might be a message of discomfort, or it might be a message of anxiety, and the thoughts could have the same source, but you're able to notice it passing. It's not infinite. It arises, it subsides, like the breath. Thoughts come and go, feelings come and go, sounds arise and subside. The breath rises and falls. The clouds move across the sky. The streams flow past into the sea. The waves roll up the beach. Just noticing it all happening. And whatever's happening in the body or in the mind, relaxing into our meditation is frictionless for many people. So with the right posture, noticing the breath rising and falling, because you let the tension out on the out breath. Breath rises. As the breath falls, release whatever tension there is. And you move your attention to wherever there's the least friction in all of these experiences. So if there's the least friction in the sounds, notice the sounds. If there's the least friction in relaxing, then relax. Or in noticing the thoughts, or in noticing the rising and falling of the belly. And then we focus our attention on that, knowing that we can move it. And then what we'll have done is reintroduced ourselves to meditation. And remember that the purpose of all of this is all there just to allow us to notice the mind in the background, the thoughts and the emotions drifting through our experience. And so noticing the movement of the belly, for example, it's a vantage point that enables us to notice the mind in the background. And if we wish, what we can do is introduce the mantra, simplest mantra there is, that Buddha taught 2,600 years ago. So you breathe in, so in your mind rising. You breathe out, so in your mind falling. Just noticing the breath. Just repeating the words, rising, falling. And then all of the complexity and busyness of the mind and the entire universe is all happening in the background. We're just noticing it. So that's the practice for the next few minutes. Notice the rising and falling of the belly. Repeating the mind rising, falling. Every so often I'll sound the bell, just in case your mind wanders. And you can bring it back to noticing the rising and falling of the belly. Like that. Doesn't matter how many times the mind wanders. Each time you notice it, you're becoming more familiar with it. When you come back and notice the present moment from wherever your mind takes you, all you do is reconnect with it to notice that progress through time. Notice the movement of the sound of the bell through time and the movement of the belly, rising and falling. And so when you bring your attention back to your surroundings, it's a process of noticing vision being added to your current state. So we're meditating, we're noticing the present moment. And so as you gently and patiently and compassionately return your attention to your surroundings, what you're doing is just adding vision to everything else, to the sensation of sitting, to the thoughts, to the movement of the belly. It's not a different place that we come to. And then what that does is that extends the meditation into your day. So you can try that. You can come out of a meditation and go back into a meditation and notice what parts of meditating you keep when you come back into visual awareness, and notice what your eyes do. So they'll what your eyes are drawn to is an indication of one of the things that stops your life from being one of a permanent meditation, where you're constantly aware of the present moment. It's just one of those things. Highly visual creatures, human beings, so our eyes get drawn to things, and then that triggers the brain in a whole bundle of ways. So you could, for instance, go out into your garden and see the flowers, or you could see the jobs that you need to do in it. And there's nothing wrong with seeing the jobs as long as you can see the flowers. It's not, if you only ever see the jobs, it stops being as fulfilling as it can be. Okay, yeah, so that there's a link here, and if you feel so moved, feel free to donate on that link, and you'll find it down in the description, so you can just click on it and you can donate however you wish. But if you feel you don't want to donate, and that's perfectly fine, but it's easy to like, so that's that one, or subscribe, and that's all beneficial in itself. Okay, so it's been quite a week for me. I've taught every day for the last 6 days, and a couple of times, and I've actually got a couple of days where I'm not teaching. But the next session is on Wednesday at 7:45, mindfulness-based resilience course group. Same on Thursday. And what I will do is try to get the YouTube scheduled bookings in place. Thanks for liking, it's appreciated. Into place so that you can see what's happening well in advance. The backgrounds, it's actually not my shed. It's an internet. An internet image. I just thought it would be nice because we're doing a class called Rebuilding Your Meditation Practice. So, this is the toolkit. So that's there's a toolkit for rebuilding your meditation practice. That's what we've covered today. Yeah. Okay. So and as well as that, I'm trying to understand the government documents. They get fuzzier. They actually started off quite clear. There was a lot of grief at first for the government documents about what you're supposed to do. Actually, they were quite clear, but they're not anymore. Now the civil service has got their teeth into it. So as soon as I know what's permissible, and it will probably be something like a walking meditation in Beckenham Place Park, or an open air meditation, then I'll let you all know. Okay, bless you all. Have a great next few days, and catch up with you in one of the other live streams. Okay, brilliant. Thanks, Maxine. Good night, everybody.